Hello everyone, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review. This one here is a little bit of an interesting one. I can't tell you the year that it came out. I don't know exactly. I tried looking it up. Can't really find it, but the movie we're talking about is Bare Exposure. The wettest, wildest wet t-shirt contest ever. Not really. But you know, don't turn off the video just yet. I think there's going to be some stuff in here that you're gonna appreciate. Um, yeah, I just watched this movie, and pretty much this movie feels almost like if you were to take like all the cliches of every '80s, sex romp comedy and just kind of mash it all into one movie. That's kind of what this movie feels like. The story is pretty basic. You got two guys. You got Clancy and you got Tom. Now Clancy is he's the nerd, he's the dorky guy with the glasses who, he's a nice guy. He's really smart, but he's very, very awkward with the ladies. And then you got Tom, who basically is kind of the guy who, a different woman every night, just pretty much lives like a bum, has no meaning or direction going on in his life. He just pretty much, all he does is just hang out and surf all day and things like that. And apparently, the situation starts off that Clancy ends up owing money to the mob, because what ended up happening is that he goes and he decides to try this theory that he wanted to do in playing, poker or something like that with a bunch of gangsters. Which, I mean, that's a brilliant idea. I mean, don't try it on your friends or any of that kind of stuff first. I mean, it's like if you're gonna if you got this theory that maybe if you try this move in a card game, it's like, yeah, don't try it on your friends first or anything like that. Go straight to the gangsters and try it out on them. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Well, apparently in this version, the worst that could happen is within 5 days, we got if Clancy doesn't pay up, he's going to get pretty much whacked. So he goes to his buddy Tom, and of course, Tom has no money or anything like that. So they're trying to figure out what they can do. Well, meanwhile, while this is going on, you have three girls. You have Heather, and Heather moves in with Megan and Brittany. Megan and Brittany after their roommate Rachel moves out, because Rachel is tired of because Megan and Brittany pretty much just like to party all the time and, just have a good time and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is they need somebody to come in and help them pay the rent for the house, and they're going to college and things like that. But so they end up bringing in this girl, Heather, and it turns out Heather happens to be Tom's cousin. So Tom decides he's going to take Clancy to go see Heather and see if there's any way she could maybe help, which of course, the two of them, they're family, so they don't get along all that well. So it starts off pretty rocky between the two of them. And, yeah, so they're sitting here, they're trying to figure out what can they do to, how can they get this money? He owes like $5,000 in 5 days. And so, well, it turns out that, as luck would have it, it turns out that, at first, they talk about, well, maybe because, Megan has, a rich dad, maybe he could help her out. And she's like, no, because as far as he's concerned, I'm pissing away his money already, going to school, taking these classes, things like that. So no, he's not going to help out. Well, then, like I said, as luck would have it, it turns out that Clancy actually owns a warehouse. So they go down, they check it out, and then they decide that, they're going to go ahead and they're going to clean it up, fix it up, and they're going to have a wet t-shirt contest. And by doing this, they'll raise the money to, get, to pay off his debt and everything. But of course, the funny thing is, if you watch this movie, with what it would take to fix this warehouse up and get it up and running so they could have the wet t-shirt contest, he could easily just, use that to pay the $5,000 back, easily could have had that said and done. Everything would have been fine. But then, of course, you would have no movie. So anyway, so they decide to start, getting into this adventure. They want to get the club ready, and they, have it ready so that they can do their wet t-shirt contest. And then, they're scouting for girls. Well, it turns out that this girl, Rachel, meanwhile, goes to Megan's dad And Megan's dad ends up sending a private investigator to go check out what's going on. And so he starts looking into it, and he ends up, this private investigator actually becomes infatuated with Heather. And then the two of them, get into this, sexual romp and stuff. But then it's revealed that, Heather finds out who he is. And so, of course, she's upset, and she's thinking that he was a nice guy in the beginning. And so, she kicks his butt to the curb, only to have him come back later and realize that he quit working for Megan's dad, and that, he's going to go ahead and take money and help them get, a business license and stuff, so that they could go ahead and get this, wet t-shirt contest off the ground, and basically prove himself to Heather that he's a good guy, and that, she could trust him. And she begrudgingly takes him back. And like I said, I mean, just listen to what I've told you in the last few minutes. It does, doesn't it? It sounds like, all the 80s movie cliches all rolled up into one film. And it keeps going. So anyway, now you got, like I said, so you got Tom. He's kind of like the different girl every night kind of guy. But, with Megan's help and her direction, he starts to learn to become more mature and responsible, and starts thinking about, finding some direction in life, and maybe even going back to school and things like that. And then meanwhile, you got Clancy, who Brittany is the kind of girl, she's a different guy every night. And at one point she tries to, her and Megan get into this argument about Brittany feels that she could win over Tom. And she feels like, Megan is too much of a goody-goody, and Tom would never go for her, and that ultimately she would win him over, and, because of her promiscuous ways and things like that. But what Brittany does not realize is at the same time, Tom considers Megan to be his ultimate fantasy girl. Sorry, I'm messing up the names here, but Tom considers Megan to be his ultimate fantasy girl. As far as he's concerned, she's the girl that he dreamt of his entire life, the girl that he's always waited for, the girl he's always wanted. And Megan is upset because, she figures that, like, a good girl like her could never land a man, and that, like, loose girls with loose morals like Brittany are going to end up getting all the guys. And, but then, of course, it's revealed that, there's some obstacles and things like that, some romantic entanglements and things like that. But by the end of the movie, you're going to find out that Tom is willing to change his ways for Megan and fall in love with her and be a more mature and responsible kind of guy. And then Brittany, feeling a little kind of put off by the whole thing, it's like she's not used to being rejected by men. So she goes and she starts, basically buddying up with Clancy. And then, of course, we go into that cliche of, okay, here's the super hot girl, the super hot popular girl, who takes the really dorky guy and, basically kind of spiffies up his image and kind of turns him from dud to stud, and, makes him into this, kind of cool guy, this he's no longer the dork, or, I mean, he's still, he's a smart guy and everything else, but he's no longer the nerdy type of guy, like the reject from Big Bang Theory or something like that. But so now he's a little bit more cool. He's a little bit more confident. And then, as the movie goes on, of course, it's going to end up that they're going to end up together. And so you get to the night of the wet t-shirt contest. And like I said, yeah, the wildest wet t-shirt contest. Not really, okay. Now I admit I haven't been to too many wet t-shirt contests in my time, but okay. It turns out the only number, obviously because it's an ultra low budget movie, the only amount of girls that they were able to get was 6 in total, and that's including Brittany. Megan is pretty much just running the show, and Heather and her guy, the private investigator, they're running the bar, serving drinks, things like that. So they only end up getting about 6 girls, 6 gorgeous girls. And apparently either these were the only women who would, audition for the movie, or apparently the director just really had a thing for blondes, because aside from Brittany and the character of Heather, pretty much every other woman in this movie is a blonde, a hot blonde. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got nothing against beautiful blondes. I'm just saying, it seems kind of funny. You think there'd be a little more diversity in there, but it's like, pretty much mostly it's all, blonde girls. And, well, they start doing the t-shirt contest, they're like calling them out one at a time and stuff like that. And, when it gets to the wet t-shirt contest, basically all Megan just runs up and just, they got the wet, tops on and all that kind of stuff, halter tops and things like that. And so, Heather just comes up, she just gives them a little spritz with a water bottle, just enough to show off. So they go out there and they're looking and all this, and then it's revealed that whichever girl wins the contest is going to end up getting a $200 cash prize. And so of course the girls become competitive and they decide one is going to outdo the other. So they end up deciding they're going to start going that extra mile. So the girls come out and they start going topless and things like that. So, and, you get into the climax of the movie and, okay, we find out that Megan, her dad shows up and that, of course, at first he's annoyed and disappointed and he's, telling her, I sent you to school to, so you could do this and all that. And she's like, look, I got problems right now, Dad. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Just let me finish with this thing here, and so you got that going on. So she's, got to confess to her father and all that stuff. And then, of course, this, you got these two goons that show up and they're always like trying to, they're trying to threaten Clancy into giving up the money and, talking about they don't think he's going to get the money by the time. And so he's like, no, you gave me so much time. You need to let me have the time to get the money and blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, it's one of those deals, by the skin of his teeth, pretty much he does end up getting the money at the end of the movie and he's able to pay off the gangsters and have a little bit of money extra and he's able to go off and now he's got Brittany, he's got this hot girl, and everything else. Now you got Megan, she decides that her and Tom, they decide that they're going to be in love and he confesses that he's in love with her and wants to be with her and so that, but she's like, well, first I got to go talk to my dad. And so she goes out, she talks to her dad and she's like, Dad, could you just let me explain? And so she starts to explain. And then later on it's revealed that the father is actually very proud of her to, that she ended up, deciding she was going to help somebody else besides, being self-absorbed and things like that. And so he pretty much decides he's going to, give her a break and everything's okay. So pretty much everything works out for everybody at the end of the movie. Okay. Like I said, just from what I've told you, it doesn't it? It sounds like almost every 80s sex rom-com all rolled up into one movie. And this movie looks almost like it's from the 80s or at least the early 90s. But the women are beautiful, as you can see right there. You got, that one right there. That's Megan right there. You got the three girls there. So, but yeah. So anyway, but also too, this is this movie would definitely be an example. I mean, a prime definition of the movie where people are hired for their looks and not for their talent because, now while the women are beautiful and the guys are handsome, the acting in this movie is beyond atrocious. It is really, really bad. The line delivery is garbage. You could tell like none of these people did, oh my God, this movie really does. It feels like none of these people ever spent one day inside of an acting class. And you got the feeling that like once they got on set that, the director was just this guy sitting behind the camera going like, you know what, who the hell cares? These girls are taking their clothes off, showing off their heavenly bodies. Who the hell cares if they can act? We don't need to be worried about acting or building story or character or any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so don't go into really do not, I mean, oh my God. The acting in this movie is so poor. This is a bold statement, I know, but it's like, the acting in this movie is actually so poor that it almost makes, certain porn stars seem like Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? It's that bad. But, the women are beautiful. If you want to know, it's like, the nudity is aplenty. There's lots of softcore simulated sex in this movie. So yeah, you're going to, if that's what you're just like, I just want to see the skin. Do I get to see beautiful female skin? Yeah, you're going to get plenty of that in here. So, if, this seems like your thing, just, yeah, go ahead and go for it. Just like I said, this movie is ultra low budget. You could tell they weren't really, they didn't really care about, making sure that the actors or actresses could really carry a performance. But yeah, I mean, if you just, you want to see beautiful women, and like I said, not exactly, I mean, an okay wet t-shirt contest, I guess, but not the wettest, wildest one you've ever seen. But anyway, though, so yeah, I would say go ahead and check it out. It's fun. It's fun. It's really stupid, but it's fun. So I would say, check it out for that. You get to see gorgeous women, and if you're one of those kind of people, you love bad movies and you love really horrible, hammy acting, then you're going to get some fun out of this. So I would say, yeah, just at the very least, give it a shot. Just for some late night raunchy fun. So there you go. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. There'll be weekly videos posted. Again, I can't thank you enough for watching. Take care, have a good night, and I'll see you later.